Okay, so this is the 2025 Higher Level Maths Leaving Cert Paper 1, question 2. A function is defined for x, which is real by f of x equal to 6 plus x squared plus sine 4x. Find f prime x, the derivative of f with respect to x. So if f of x is equal to 6 plus x squared plus sine 4x, then f prime x, the derivative of f, is, if you find the derivative of 6, you get 0. X squared becomes 2x, sine becomes cos 4x, but you must use the chain rule to differentiate the 4x as well, so you just get 4 there. So the answer is 2x plus 4 cos 4x. So this is part 2. Find the equation of the tangent to the curve y is equal to f of x at the point where x is equal to 0. Give your answer in the form ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Okay, so remember f of x was 6 plus x squared plus sine 4x, and f prime of x then was just 2x plus 4 cos 4x. Now we've got to write the equation of the tangent in this form here. So the equation of a line is y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. So we need two things. We need a point on the line and we need the slope. So we're going to use this to find the slope, and we're going to use this here to find a point. So let's find a point first of all. We know that x is equal to 0. It's at the point x is equal to 0. So y then is just going to be equal to 6 plus 0 squared plus sine 4 times 0. So that's y is equal to 6 plus 0. And then here we've got the sine of 4 times 0. That's just the sine of 0. The sine of 0 is just 0. So y is just going to be 6. So the point that we're talking about, our x1, y1, is just 0, 6. So this is x1, this is y1. So we have these two parts here to go into our formula. The next thing we've got to do is work out a slope. Now we know that when you differentiate a function, you get a slope function. So our slope is equal to 2x plus 4 cos 4x. Now we want the slope of the tangent where x is equal to 0. So in other words, we've got to put 0 in here and 0 in here. So that will give us then a slope of, well, 2 times 0 is just 0. And then the cos of 4 times 0. 4 times 0 is just 0, so the cos of 0 is 1. So 1 times 4 is 4. So in other words, our slope is just going to be 4. Okay, so all we've got to do then is just put those values into our formula. So we got y minus y1 is 6. Our slope is 4. X minus our x1 is 0. So this is really our answer, but we were asked to put it in the form ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So we got y minus 6 is equal to 4x. Let's see, we've got 0 is equal to 4x. Bring the y over and bring the 6 over. This is the equation of our tangent at the point x is equal to 0, y is equal to 6. Okay, so that's that part of the question done. Let's have a look at the next part, part B. The function g of x is defined for x between 0 and 4 inclusive. Its graph is shown in the diagram on the right and is made up of two line segments. Use the graph of g of x to answer parts B1, 2, and 3. State the range of values of x for which g prime x is greater than 2. Okay, so g prime x is the slope of the line. So if we look at this line here from 0 to 3, up here y is equal to 1. This line here has a slope of, if you take rise over run, if you take this as the rise, that's 1. Then along here you got 3. So that has a slope there of 1 over 3. If you take, let's say, rise over run again for this part, so this part here, this is 1, 2, 3 squares up along that way, 1 square along this way. So the slope along here is 3 over 1, or just 3. So the second part of this graph, this part up along here, has a slope of 3. This has a slope of a third. So 3 is bigger than 2. So this is the part we're talking about. we've got to write down the range of values of x for which the slope is greater than 2. So our answer there would just be x being bigger than 3 and less than 4. So just between 3 and 4. Okay, so find the value of g of 3. Give your answer in the form a over b, where a and b are natural numbers. Show your work on the graph. Okay, so we want to look at g of 3 first. So in other words, we got to put in 3 into our function. So if you put 3 into the function, you'd need to come up along here like this, and then along here like this, and your answer would be 1. When they say show the work on the graph, that's what they're looking for. Obviously use a ruler here, I've got to do it freehand. So when we do g of 3, we get 1. Now we've got to put 1 into g. So if you put 1 into g, you're going to get this here. Now these grids here are all squares, so you can see that the slope of this line up along here is 1/3. So in other words, this distance here is 1/3 the distance from here to here. So in other words, when you do g of 3, you get 1/3. So the answer to part 2 is g of 3 is equal to 1 over 3. And a and b are natural numbers. That's a natural number. This is a natural number here. So that's it. So they would expect you to put in these blue lines as I have them here, but obviously use a ruler. Okay, next part then. Draw and label the graph of y is equal to g inverse x on the same diagram for x greater than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 4. X is real, where g inverse is the inverse of the function g. And they give us a hint. They tell us what to do or how to do it here. The graph of g inverse is the image of the graph of g under axial symmetry in the line y is equal to x. So, okay, we've got to draw the line y is equal to x first. So that's just going to be a line that's 45 degrees up from the positive direction of the x-axis. So in other words, we're going to look at a line up along here. This is the line y is equal to x. And we've got to do a transformation of our function g of x by axial symmetry in that line. So in other words, if we take this point here, which is 3, 1, and reflect that in the line, we're going to get this point here, which is 1, 3. This is 1, 3. So all we've really got to do is just join up this point here and this point here. And that's it. This is our function. This blue line here is our function g inverse x. That's all we had to do, draw and label. So we have drawn it, we have labeled it, and that is about it, I think. Yep, and that's it for this question.